What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Tribe of Runners. I'm your host, Liz Myers, and today we are pulling a solo episode where I'm going to go over some life updates. This is something that I'm really trying to do with the podcast is just continue to let everyone know what I am doing and what I am up to. And it is officially summertime. The boy has graduated 8th grade. He is home majority of the summer, and we are down to just get him a job, get him volunteering, get him out in the world. So life has had some recent changes, but you are here to hear about the running changes. And that is what I'm here to talk all things about. So I want to kind of backtrack and also tell you what's been going on and what is to come in training. So it's been a hot minute since I've done a update. It's probably been about a month. And some has changed, nothing bad, but we're in speed work now. I am fully hating my life in some aspects because it's like this weird love hate with interval work and speed work. I swear it's great for you, but I freaking hate it. And I'm in it, I'm in the thick of it, and I'm making myself do it. And I did love almost every second of it. Maybe not during the intervals, but when I was done, definitely felt really, really good. So I'm here to talk a little bit about my VO2 block that I just did, the threshold block that I am in right now, and give you some updates on like what's going on and how training is going. So if you haven't seen, I have officially announced the races that I'm doing this year, and it's about dang time. I have always been planning to do this, and I've talked a little bit about them, but I wanted to go over them a little more and kind of give like the order. So here soon, I don't know exactly when, maybe in a couple weeks, maybe a little more than a couple weeks, end of July-ish, end of June, July, somewhere around there. Who knows? I am going to do a 50K on the treadmill. I've done it before. I enjoy it. It may be a little more than 50K, but it's going to be really verty. It's going to be fun. I say fun, but you guys know what I mean. I love the treadmill. Not everyone does. And I'm excited just to throw a random 50K in training. Obviously, I'm going to plan it, and I haven't 100% planned it because we have a few things that we might do this summer, and I just want to make sure it falls in line and it doesn't kind of jeopardize what's going on. I am going to go out and crew a buddy of mine out at a few races or definitely a race, maybe another race. I should probably get with him on that, but I just want to make sure it falls in line. And then I have the makeshift 50 mile with the Florida crew. I am super excited for this race. It is going to be quite a few of us. A few people are actually flying into Florida to run it. If you know, you know. But it is going to be a race with the guy who created it all, Kirk Blevins, and a few of us Florida runners that are part of the Everyday Ultra team are going to run a 50 miler on the other coast out in St. Augustine. And I'm just really excited for it. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be hot. We're going to do this in August. We are not smart for doing this in August, but it is going to be fun. Again, there's just us going out there and having fun. There's no time goal or anything of that nature. It's just going to be a whole bunch of people getting together to have a lot of fun. We have to probably call it a glorified group run or something like that so we don't get in trouble. You know what I mean, but it's just going to be a fun run. We are doing it in August, and I'm very, very, very excited for that. Again, this race has nothing to do other than just going out and having some fun. It's something I'm genuinely looking forward to, and I'm really excited to go do this with a whole bunch of good friends. I believe it's called like the Urban Runner Race or something like that. It's just a little something fun that Kirk has actually done back last year. So to make this a little more understandable, Kirk was training for a 50 miler, and this might last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember. I think it was last year, and it was canceled. I don't recall why, but he still wanted to go run a 50 mile. He had trained, he was ready. So he went and ran outside his door and just ran down and ran a 50 miler. And it was awesome, super, super huge accomplishment. And he loved it. So he's like, I'm thinking about doing it again this year. And I was like, dude, I'll do it with you. And then we talked about it a little bit more. We got a whole bunch of people involved. And now we're going to just have this like glorified group run, and it's going to be a blast. So I'm really looking forward to going out there and ripping a 50 miler with some good friends and dying in the heat of Florida. As you all know, it's going to be hot as ever out here, but hopefully we can just have a good time and go out and try not to die out there in the heat. And as many of you know, I'm still on this Vert challenge, which I will get to here in a second. But This will be like the first flat race I've done in quite some time. I've been training vert for quite a while, and I do love it, so I'm not mad about it. But it'll be weird to be out and just run a flat 50. So that'll be very exciting to do that. And then after that 50 is No Business. So No Business is in October. I am running it with an Everyday Ultra coach, a co-host of the podcast who comes on here quite a bit, good old Christy Brinker, and I am so excited to go do it. I am still waiting to watch all of the videos on YouTube of this race because I get like super pumped about it. I've watched a few. Yes, I have. But I will eventually dive in and watch like all the YouTube, all the videos, all the things I can on this race. And I am so excited. I've heard this from almost everyone that has ran the race, and it just excites me in all the types of ways. Everyone says it's a horrible race, but in the best kind of way. And I feel like that just is right up my alley. It's something I am very excited to do. I'm looking forward to just being in misery with Christy and go out there and just crush it. She is actually getting ready to run a 100-miler here soon, and I'm super excited for that because once she gets done that race, then she's going to dive into training for No Business, and we plan to be on the pod and talk a little bit about our trainings because we are both actually self-coaching and getting our asses ready for an amazing race. So very excited to chat more on the podcast about that, and just really excited to get out there and get back into racing. It has been a hot minute, and I miss the race atmosphere. Like, I love training. I really do. And I would train all year round, no matter what, if I did or didn't have a race. I just genuinely love, I hate saying this, but the grind of running and training and pushing my body and seeing what I can do. And races are usually very stressful and something that kind of drive me crazy and stress me out. But I do enjoy a good race. So I'm excited to get out of my comfort zone and go run a race and go do a Verty 100-miler. I'm so excited. It is going to be a wild one. This is just different. You know, it's an East Coast race, and I am one to believe that the East Coast mountainous races are a tidbit harder than majority of the West Coast mountainous races. Again, it's just completely different type of terrain in comparison. Now, if you could look at something like Uray, or and however you say that, Uray 100, that is just a different, completely different beast. But I'm thinking of things like Cruel Jewel and No Business, and I mean even H9, insane race. And I'm just really really excited to get out there and go out and tackle this race. I think it's gonna be awesome. I think it's gonna be horrible at the same time. And Chrissy and I are actually talking and have talked and are probably going to do this without a crew and or without pacers. Obviously, we plan to kind of run together unless I start sucking and I'm like, dude, you can just go ahead, or vice versa. But I think this would be really cool for us just to go experience and see what the heck we can do. We do plan to do a huge training camp. I think we're planning to do this in September. Don't kill me, Christy. I know we have it written down and it is somewhere, but I did not write it in my notes. And shame on me. But we're going to do a training camp. I am so excited for the training camp. I already told Christy I want to do some big mileage, get in a whole bunch of course recon and just do the dang thing. So I'm super excited for that. And I think I will really figure out all the things I need to adjust in training with a training camp, which is kind of like why you do it. You know, you want to go out there and torture yourself and realize, yes, I'm doing the right thing. I just need to adjust a few things. Or you're like, shit, let's go back to the drawing board, which I don't think Chrissy and I will have to do that. I think both of us will just be like, cool, we're doing great. Let's adjust one or two things and get ourselves as ready as possible. So I'm very excited about that. That race is the end of October. And then about 6 weeks later, I'm going to run the Dreadmill Challenge. It is the Dreadmill. So it's a treadmill 100-miler, or it's a 48-hour challenge is actually what it is. So you have 48 hours to do whatever you want on a treadmill. A lot of people go run 100 miles. They take breaks and just, you have to complete it in 48 hours. That's the only kind of restriction. And how I plan to do this is tackle a 100-mile on a treadmill with a lot of vert. Now, I've contemplated on how I'm going to do this, and I still haven't decided. I'm thinking maybe do, like, I'm turning 35. So I'm like, you know, I have a 350,000 feet vert goal for the year. So maybe for that race, I'll do 35,000. I don't know. I don't know. If you have any crazy ideas or something, let me know. But my mind is telling me, Liz, you have to do 100 miles on a treadmill. That's crazy. Yeah. But how can I make it crazier? What can I do to completely just blow my mind and be like, damn, I can't believe I did that on a treadmill? So it's got to be something very verty. I'm a little daunted by the fact that like I'm going to probably set all of my paces and percent incline before I do this. And that means I have to stick to it, which is a good thing, but also kind of scary if you think about it, because I can either make myself miserable and really try to push myself and, like later in the race, obviously not at the beginning. Obviously at the beginning, I'm going to go super, super chill. It's 100 miles. I just want to get it done. But like, what am I going to try to do towards the end? So I'm still trying to figure all of the logistics out for that. But it's going to be a Verdi 100-mile on the treadmill. I'm going to probably start it December 12th and finish on December 13th. December 12th is my good old buddy Kirk's birthday, and December 13th is my birthday. So I am thinking of finishing on my birthday. I think that'd be super cool. Probably start like midday or maybe really early on Saturday or on the 12th. I'm sorry. And then finish early on, I don't know, finish as early as I can on my birthday, the 13th. So to be determined, but I'm very excited. I think this year is going to be wild. And then I've thought about this a lot. So many people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing all this work on the treadmill. Like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I am practically on a treadmill about 6 days a week, 5 days a week, really. And training anywhere from, 5 to 6 days a week of runs. And I will say, I'm still not sick of it yet. It's been a while. I've been on a treadmill longer than just this past 6 months. It's, almost June. I was training on the treadmill before this. I am still on the treadmill training and I'm not sick of it. So I think that says a lot about how much I love a treadmill. But next year, I don't think I'm going to be doing much vert. TBD, but I am going back and forth between a few things. I definitely want to do a backyard ultra. So backyard ultra is in the plans. Can't talk too much about that yet because there is a potential of doing one in February-ish. If not, finding another race of a backyard ultra. But again, trying to find one that fits the schedule is really important, obviously. And then just trying to decide what else I want to run. There is a Florida race that I have in mind. I won't talk about it yet, but I'm thinking of doing that next year. So to be determined, but I'm thinking good things and I'm very excited for this year and next year. So everything is going well, everything in the mind, like I'm back, I'm ready, I'm super pumped. Training has been going very well. The past 4 weeks, I did VO2 training. So if anyone's unfamiliar with VO2 training, just run as fast as you can, as hard as you can, for as long as you can. No, I'm just kidding. So VO2, what is VO2 training? Why do we train VO2? Why do we run intervals? What is the point of all this? So you hear so many things, so many clickbaity things, and like, oh, you have to have the highest VO2 and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, we're just gonna cut to the chase. Do an ultra marathon runner, does an ultra marathoner, do they need to run fast? Do they need to do VO2 work? And the answer is yes, 100%. Like, why not grow your fitness? Why not grow your aerobic ceiling? Like, why not become a bad bitch? Like, that's a question you gotta ask yourself. But why we do VO2 work and when to do VO2 work is super, super important. So we do VO2 work to raise the ceiling of your aerobic threshold, or your aerobic ceiling in a sense. So you want to see like how much oxygen that your body can actually utilize in a high intensity. So when you're huffing and puffing and you can barely breathe and you don't know what's going on, like, you are testing your cardiovascular system. You are trying to see how much oxygen you actually use before you actually like die and croak and do all that. No, I'm just kidding. But you get what I'm saying. Like, we're pushing the limits here. So why do that when we're going to be running 100 miles and we will not be anywhere close to that exertion in the race, more than likely? And the reason is fitness. Like, the higher your VO2, the better off you are, the more fit you are. But that does not mean if you have a high VO2, or I should say, that does not mean if you have a low VO2 that you are not a fit person. I don't believe it. There's been some research. We won't get into that. I'm not a super duper huge into shoving research down anyone's throat. But all I'm saying is VO2 work is great. You should do it in training, but when should you do it? Do not do it when it's close to your race. No, 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 no. I have months before my race actually is going on. And to be honest, let me actually check. Bear with me. Let me see when my race actually is. It is, as of today, which it is Friday, May 29th, I am 21 weeks away from no business. That's pretty far out. And that's why I'm doing VO2 work, because I have the time to do some speed work before I start to build volume. So you want it to be obviously like something that is not specific to a 100-mile or 50-mile, or, maybe a little more specific for a 50-mile if you want to be fast. But for this 100-mile, I am not worried about being super fast. I'm worried about vert. That's more specific. So I am really far out from my race. So I am training my VO2. I'm training speed work. I am doing a bunch of speed work. I'm literally torturing myself, but I'm doing it. And I low-key kind of enjoy it, but also hate it at the same time. And you know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm talking about. But how it started about 4 weeks ago, at the beginning of May, I got into my VO2 work. So I did 3 weeks of VO2 work. So 3 full weeks of intervals, 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort. And what that effort is pretty much being able to say one word while running. Like, it is hard. You are pushing yourself. It is uncomfortable. That is the point. Something to do to kind of understand your 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort, and something I have a lot of my athletes do. I did not do it this time around because I've done it before, and low-key, I really, really hate doing this. It's a Cooper test. So what the Cooper test is you could do a little bit of a warm-up, you do some strides, and you go run for 12 minutes at an 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort. 12 minutes with no stopping. And then you do a cool down and you're all done. So me as a coach, when I have athletes do that, I look at their that 12-minute portion, I do some calculations, I do some map graphing, and I reach out to them and I say, how did you feel? And they usually say, holy crap, that was really, really hard. And then we talk, and I want to know if they left some in the tank, if they went out too hot. And I'm not going to lie, and all of my athletes know this, majority of the time I can tell. And it's either because they start out really fast and then they dwindle down into a slower effort, or they start off kind of easy and then they dwindle up into a higher effort, which there's no right or wrong way of doing this. Obviously, what I really want to see as a coach is it to be as flat as possible, and for them to be like, dude, I felt great. I gave the entire effort. Like, I couldn't give any more. I didn't hold myself back. I felt really good. But that rarely happens because not a lot of us know what an 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort is, honestly. So we kind of break that down. We figure out what that actual pace is, what that effort is, and then we go into the intervals. Now, the intervals, if it is VO2 work, it is a 1-by-1 interval. And what that means is it's a 1 minute at fast, it's a 1 minute hard, at 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort, and then a 1 minute recovery. I will say now, majority of people take the recovery too fast. Remember that. Majority of people take that recovery in the intervals too fast. Me personally, majority of the time, I walk them, or I do a very, 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 very easy jog when I do it, because I want to recover during that period. I want to get the most out of that recovery and go after my interval as hard as I can without, with staying in the 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort. And that's hard. I am not a fast runner. I do not like running fast. I do not like running hard. I just want to run slow and eat snacks. But when I'm doing my VO2 work, I try to run the, whatever the interval time is. If it's 1 minute on, 1 minute recovery, I run the 1 minute as hard as I can, staying in the 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort. And then I take that recovery super chill. Another example is 2x2s, 3x3s. And then the amount of time in those intervals, it depends. It can be anywhere from roughly 12 to 15 minutes at that intensity. So what that means is, we're doing 1-by-1s, you do 12 sets of 1-by-1s. That's 12 minutes at intensity. You could do 14 sets of 1-by-1s, and so forth. Throughout the intervals, the weeks of intervals, is you change the time at intervals. So you could start 1-by-1s and then 2x2s, 3x3s, and you can even do 4x4s. I did not do 4x4s in this interval week training for myself. I rarely give them out. And it's just more of a personal thing. I feel like with the VO2 work, I like to be in that 1 to 3 minutes. And I like to throw in hill work when I do it. And I did throw in hill work. I even had Christy send me a really, really interesting VO2 workout where I ran some of it flat and then some of it on incline. And it was a doozy, but in a good type of way. And I was very thankful for the workout. So that is a new workout that I have in my library and I love it. But it was one that smacked me in the face, but in the best kind of way, if that makes sense. So I just want to kind of go over how I felt during these 4 weeks or 3 weeks of building. So 3 weeks of intervals, and then I had a deload week. And then I went into threshold training, which we will get into. But the first week, I felt amazing. I felt so good. And I was really happy, like so happy because I like honestly kind of dread intervals. So I felt really, really good. The second week, I felt pretty good as well. Really, really happy with my results, with my paces. I was still trying to adjust some of the paces and dial it in because I was trying new inclines. So typically I was running at like a 7% incline, and I changed it and went up to 8 or 9. So I was adjusting with a few things, trying to get that pace really dialed in. So obviously, if you put an incline up on your treadmill and you're running, your pace that you see on the screen is, not the pace that you're running at an incline. So I had to do some math, and I have a chart that I use and love and abuse and use it all the time. So try to get myself in that right 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort and just get that dialed in. Felt good once I got it under control, but I had to learn. I can't remember what interval it was, but I had to learn. And I just went out way too hot, and then I had to adjust myself. So that's normal. And my best advice to everyone is I would much rather you go in a little easier and then have to speed up throughout to know that you can push it for the next one than to go out way too hot and then have to completely double back and just screw yourself. And that is what happened to me. And it always kind of happens to me. I think it happens to almost everyone. We have a big ego. We try to do the thing that we probably shouldn't. And yeah, I have no regrets, but I did go out a little too hot in one of them and I just had to adjust it a little bit. But easy fixed. Again, the first 2 weeks felt really, really good. The next week I started to feel it. And this is normal. This is expected. But what I didn't realize what happened was my household was getting sick. Kristen was getting sick. I was starting to not feel well. Braden was getting really sick, and I felt it in my training. I think people know this, but I have like weird sleeping issues, and sometimes I sleep really well. Sometimes I don't when I get stressed out. Typically, it's one thing, but I just haven't been sleeping well. So like at the beginning of this interval session, I was sleeping so good. The intervals felt great. Life was amazing. And then, you get more tired and yeah. So the intervals started to kind of not go so well. I finished them all, felt decent, but just didn't have the pop in my legs, which is very normal. I literally went from, just training to some speed work. It's normal for the compound of training and all of the hard work to affect yourself and the runs to kind of feel like trash. And I will say, I've been doing some strength training that is not in my norm. A lot of you guys know I've been really, really getting back into strength training. I'm trying to put on some size. I'm trying to put on some strength and like just get back into like my bro phase of strength training. I've missed it. I've loved it. I've been consistently back at the gym for quite some time and just been feeling really, really good. But the new adjustment, aside from going back to my old bro ways and loving it, is I've been pushing my legs so much, and I've never really done this in the way that I'm doing it, in the sense of I'm squatting heavy. I'm doing a lot of single leg stuff heavy, and I'm just genuinely pushing myself more than I think I ever have. And I feel great, but I am super fatigued all the time. I'm eating so much more than normal. And I'm allowing myself, like I am just allowing myself to kind of eat probably a little bit more than normal, but I want the extra energy, to be 100% honest. I am downing all the protein I possibly can. I'm still taking all of my supplements. I am just trying to do all the things to recover as well as I possibly can, to eat as much as I possibly can, and to hit my workouts as best I can. So I am fueling all of my workouts. I am eating a lot post workout. And typically how my day works right now is first thing in the morning, I go lift. I come home, like work a little bit, and then like midday I will hit a run, and then I finish work throughout the rest of the day, and then have the evenings. That's kind of how training has been going for me, and I've loved it. So yes, I am actually hitting my leg workouts first thing in the morning and then hitting a run later in the day. And with that being said, I am making my hard days hard. So when I have an interval day, I'm having a heavy leg day or a leg day in general. So Mondays, I'm usually doing a very heavy compound type movement for leg day. And then I am doing intervals on Monday. I have a recovery run on Tuesday. I usually lift upper body on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I do a lot of accessory work for my leg workout. And then I hit another interval workout. Thursday is usually a full rest day for me. Sometimes I hit the gym. And then Friday's long run. Saturday is a recovery or rest day, depending on how busy my schedule is. And just trying to give my family and my family more time, honestly. Sometimes I don't run, and I'm allowing it this year. I used to like freak out and be like, no, I have to hit this. I have to hit this. But right now I'm not so much worried about volume. I'm more worried about honestly just being happy and giving myself the lenience to not run when I have the day to go spend with my family, or to get work done and not stress about having to get in a run or something of that nature. And then Sunday, I'm doing some type of workout. Usually it's a treadmill workout. So with all of that, I am pretty much on the treadmill every day except for my long run, which is on Friday, more or less. But sometimes out of convenience, I have been hitting the treadmill on my long run. So it kind of is what it is. But I wanted to go over what my intervals looked like. So obviously, when I first started, I mentioned I did a 1x1. So I did 14 1x1s on Monday. I did 12 1x1s on Tuesday. Or I'm sorry, on Wednesday. So Monday, Wednesday. That's how it goes. Each week, Monday, Wednesday. The second week, I did a fun workout that was given to me by Christy. And then I did 2x2s. And I think I did 7 2x2s, if I can remember. Actually, let me look. Bear with me again. Oh, this was my bad workout. So I did 7 2x2s and I ate shit. I just went out way too hot. I did it on incline, and this was just a hill workout that literally kicked my butt. So adjusted the pace, realized it was trash, was kind of fed up, and was like, you know what? I'm gonna call it. And I actually ended this workout early. So disappointed myself, but I'm okay with it. Like, it just is what it is at this point. I think I've just had so much going on in life that I try not to stress myself out too much with training. Like, if I miss 15 minutes, I miss 15 minutes. So I cut 15 minutes out of that run, but I made it up on one of my other runs during or later in the week. And that's cool. Like, no stress off my back, no worries, no concerns. Everything was fine. Nothing happened. Me cutting that 10 minutes, 15 minutes out on that run did literally nothing. I'm not some weak bitch now. I'm still a bad bitch, and I'm still super happy of all the training. So no worries, no complaints. The week after that, I went to 8 2x2s, and then I did 4 3x3s. And then I got sick. I actually went and hit my long run. I had a normal recovery run, hit the treadmill, and then Monday, my recovery, my slash deload week, I go hit a nice heavy leg workout, and something just doesn't feel right. The weight is changed. It's a deload week for me in running and in strength training. So it's super light, but it felt super heavy. I was struggling to catch my breath. I get home and had to do a few things. I had a few personal things come up that I had to take care of. And then luckily I had a break that I would have ran. So like how my day works is morning go lift. I usually have calls. That specific day I had to take care of some personal stuff. And then I have time cut out to literally go run. I took a nap. I was nauseous. I didn't feel well. And I was like, I am not getting sick. So I laid down and slept for quite some time. I literally woke up, had a call or two, and then went almost immediately back to sleep and woke up the next day feeling so much better. But I was thinking to myself, I made a funny reel and I'm like, oh, I know I shouldn't run, but everything inside me tells me to run. I'm a coach, I know better, but so I didn't run. I made myself not run. So I took those 2 days, I didn't run, and then just got back into training. And I kept it super light when I came back in because I didn't want to jeopardize getting myself sick or like being on the brink of anything. I'm so tired. I got so sick at the beginning of this year. I was like, I am not doing it. So I took it super chill. I had some recovery runs. I had a little bit of hill work. I did a very, very chill treadmill hill workout that week that for my long run. And I felt great. So I was so happy to hear. I was super pumped. Very proud of myself. And I just really listened to my body that week, which I don't typically do. I'm more of someone to be like, screw it, don't be a little baby and go do the damn thing. But it's not always the best thing to do. And honestly, like, as all of you've known, because I've talked about this so much, is life has been pretty fucking stressful. Why am I going to stress myself out even more, torturing my body, running through stupid shit and just making things worse? So I didn't do it. I took a step back, told myself, listen, you're going to sleep, you're going to rest. I've been reading a crap ton, and I have not been reading nonfiction books. I will tell you that. I just got in a rut with a few books, and I've just been chilling and reading, and it has been great. I have been reading nonfiction books too. Everyone knows me. I love me a good crazy thinking, self-help, whatever, but I also love to get lost in random stories. So I've been reading a lot, and that has helped me like chill a lot more. And I think like getting on the brink of being sick, I like just told myself, like, listen, you need to find a book and just read it. And that's what I did. So that really did help. I'm very thankful for that. If you don't like reading, I'm sorry, but I do. And you should read. It's good for you. I mean, don't get me started. Anywho, so that's kind of how VO2 work went. Typically during a deload week, I would add in like maybe one speed workout, but decrease the volume, or decrease all the speed and keep a little bit of volume. But I just did both because I was so sick and not feeling well and didn't want to push the body. So I just went super chill and came back feeling better than ever. And so after that, I'm jumping into threshold work. So you may ask, like, what's threshold work? And we're not going to go through the whole spiel of, oh, you shouldn't be doing speed work, because you should be. We've gone over this. I still have plenty of time. Again, I think I said 21 weeks until no business comes up. So I have plenty of time to do some speed work. And I personally genuinely love threshold work. I don't know if it's because it's not as hard in the sense of like rate of perceived effort. It's a 6 to a 7. You should be able to run and say a couple words and be able to run while doing that. It's not a full out sprint where you can only say like 1 or 2 words like you would in VO2 work, the 8 to 9 rate of perceived effort, but you should be able to say a little bit more. And it's longer intervals. So it's anywhere from 4 to 20-ish minutes. And yes, you may think like, oh my God, I don't want to do that for 20 minutes and all of that. But it's just this different type of burn in my soul that I love so much when it comes to threshold. I genuinely feel like I'm getting more fit when I do it. It's probably a psychological thing, but I'm okay with it. I tell myself like, it's cool, dude. You're getting fast. It doesn't matter. You're getting fit. But we do this to increase the amount of time that we can hold without sustaining fatigue. And what I mean by that is like in threshold, when you're in like a threshold block or a phase in training, you're running and you will build up lactic acid. There will be a point where your body cannot actually break down the lactic acid that is building, that is hitting your threshold. So in order to do threshold work, you're trying to sustain how far you can actually push yourself out and hold that effort. And until, you can't go without fatiguing, which is the lactic acid being built up. So why do this? Again, it comes back to like, well, because we're ultra runners and we do hard things, right? No, it's to become more fit. And even doing this type of threshold training, it does raise and help increase your VO2 max. So why not do it? It's fun. It's different. And you can do this for a longer period of time. I don't think I mentioned this, but when you're doing VO2 work, it's typically anywhere from like 3 to 5 weeks. I don't see much more than maybe 6 weeks. But I mean, even me, who has tons of time until my race, I've only done 4 weeks of VO2 work. That's enough for me. That's good. I am now going into threshold work, and I will probably do this for 6 to 8 weeks, but you could honestly do this for quite some time. I mean, obviously you don't want to do it forever. It is not good to do that. But anywhere from, I would say, as short as 4 weeks to as long as 8, 12 weeks. And it's kind of a giant gap, but it just depends on that person's fitness. Everyone is different. You have to be careful. It depends. I'm a coach. We say that all the time, but it is the truth, because not everyone is the same, obviously. But these intervals, again, anywhere from 4 to 20 minutes long. And the amount of time at interval can be anywhere from 20 minutes to 60 minutes of threshold. So it is a huge difference. And I love it. I love me some threshold work. And I highly encourage you to get into it if the timing is right. And if you have a good foundation build up. I'm telling you all of this and I'm doing all of this, but I've been running for quite some time. I have a huge foundation built up. Even though I was injured, my foundation came back. My endurance came back, I should say, not my foundation. My endurance came back. I am still, relatively fit. Obviously, we don't Yes, we lose things fast, but they come back fast as well. You have to remember that. So having a good foundation built, being just fit, and then getting into some speed work, it is amazing. So I highly, highly recommend it. I am very excited. I just actually completed my first week of threshold training, and my intervals looked like this. I actually didn't write it down. So I did 5 6x3s. I forgot to mention threshold work is a 2x1. So if it's a 6-minute interval, it's a 3-minute recovery. So I did 5 intervals of 6x3s, and then I went and did 7 intervals of 4x2s. I like to break it up with even numbers, so 4x2, 6x3, 8x4. And you'll notice that, like, and this was in the VO2 work too, is the first day of intervals is typically more time on feet comparably to the second day, because you're kind of a little more tired, obviously. So I loved this week. I hit the incline. My first week was flat. My second week was on incline. Loved every moment of it. And I'm just excited to continue to push through this threshold block. I think I'm going to do it again for like 6 to 8 weeks. I do actually have a long range plan. Maybe I will talk about that in my YouTube. I need to get back to my YouTube. Honestly, taking a break if you haven't noticed, but I do have a bunch of content. I've been recording a whole bunch, just not making anything because honestly, life has just been kind of crazy. And this was the first week I've really had a chance to chill. So I took advantage of it and I just rested a little bit more than normal, which is good. So I'm ready to get back into it. I miss making content as much as I used to. So maybe I will show everyone how I do my long range plan and kind of talk about that. That'll be on the YouTube. But I do have a long range plan somewhere. I do not have it up and ready to chat about, but I'm just going to enjoy the threshold, but also have to keep in mind, I need my volume to get a little higher. I obviously am running a bunch of vert, which we're going to kind of break into here in a second. But I am in the thick of a vert challenge. In a couple days, it's going to be 6 months in. And I will tell you, I've done some numbers and did some totals. And as of, I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, because I wrote notes and have failed to record this until now. But I was just about 127,000 feet of vert in. And I need to be somewhere around 139. So I'm about 12,000 feet of vert behind. That's not bad, especially considering the beginning of this year for me was insane. Horrible. Let's just go with not very well. So I am super pumped to hear this and see this. Like, that's not that much. My vert is only going to increase. Like this week was a prime example of doing bigger threshold intervals because I obviously ran some of them on vert and I'm just cranking in the time on feet and getting in more volume and more vert, which is great. I can do that when I'm in threshold. When you're in VO2 work, you don't want to honestly increase too much intensity and volume at the same time. Just a big no-no. So with threshold, I can actually increase some of the volume. And how I'm doing that is doing it throughout the week. I'm not just going to my long run and adding a whole bunch of extra time because honestly, right now, I don't have the time to give much of a long run. Now, I could increase my long run and I do plan to increase my long run, but I'm going to try to spread out some of the volume throughout the week. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to have like a 4 hour, or anything like that, but it means I'm going to probably go up into like an hour and a half of training during the week instead of just an hour and see how that goes. But it could change. That is just the plan for right now, and we will see how that goes. But I'm very, very excited for the Vert Challenge. I'm still going at it. There has been no doubt that I'm going to crush it. And I am honestly just very happy that I've stuck to it. Life has been so crazy. I had so many little habits going on and so many goals, and a lot of that has been just thrown to the freaking side. The few things that have stayed is my Vert Challenge. My step goal has gone out the door. It got so crazy, and I was just could not get the time in one day to get a run in, plus walking the dogs, plus getting in my steps. It just got to be a little bit too much, which is kind of crazy. But at the same time, I'm still hitting tons of steps. And I love that. I like a step goal, but it just became to a point that I didn't want to obsess about it anymore because I was obsessing. Nutrition kind of went out the door, but I've told myself June's coming in like a couple days. My ass is getting back on it. This week has been trash. Kristen, Braden, and me have ate like trash. He graduated this this week, so it's just been a lot of, hey, we don't have time, let's just grab something quick. Hey, let's just make this because it's quick and convenient. So I'm getting back onto nutrition. Hydration is a no-brainer. I drink tons of water anyway, but I just really want to dial in my nutrition outside of running. Like, I mean, day to day. I'm usually very particular and I eat the same thing every single day, but this week has been, this whole month, honestly, has kind of been out the door. I'm got to like, I usually eat probably like an 85-15 to be 100%, in the sense of like 85% healthy, 15% bad. But it got to probably like a 50-50, which is never something. I mean, I haven't done that in a really, really long time. So I'm here to say I'm getting back into that. And then I've been reading so much recently. I have not been writing, which is a huge thing for me. I've just kind of like needed a break. And I took a break from YouTube too. So like I was still kind of making some stuff. I was recording a bit, but just not actually creating the videos because they do take so much time, and time is very precious for me right now. So I've been doing what I can as much as I can, but I will get back to it, and I'm very excited to get back into all things and just continue to do all the things. So June's coming, it's halfway. I'm here to say I'm a little behind on my vert goal, but I am not by any bit defeated or questioning if I can do it. I have put in so much time on the treadmill. I've given so much energy into getting in the vert, and it will be one of the biggest accomplishments I think I've ever done, in the sense, which just sounds so crazy to say, like, what, a vert goal? But dude, I live in Florida. It is flat. I have a hill that's nearby that I only go to about once a week, and I am just trying to do something freaking crazy, and I think it is. And I'm very, very happy for all that I'm doing. So, say thank you so much for listening and cheering along and being a part of this crazy, crazy goal. And I'll see you guys in the next one.